Hello and welcome back to Factorio C-Block. In our last episode, we took a look at the smelting recipes that we had been unlocking so frantically in the last couple of episodes, and started to kind of lay out, not really the plan, but a look at the plan, to try and figure out how exactly we might want these to set up and work and all of that. And so I've done a bit of arrangement and cleanup and completion of that. So I'll just start here on the left, which is stuff that we didn't actually look at last time, which is silver. We have the ability to bring silver in here. I need to hook it up here yet. We have the ability to bring silver in here, where we can smelt that into silver ingots, and then of course into plates. I think after that, we have the aluminum ingots, which are made from alumina. Which, for those of you who have played Satisfactory, you might recognize kind of this bit: alumina and carbon making aluminum ingots, and alumina being made from aluminum hydroxide, which is actually not in the Satisfactory version, but aluminum hydroxide, which is made from aluminum ore and sodium hydroxide. And yes, for those of you watching, I am saying aluminum instead of aluminium. It's just one of those things that is ingrained in me, that I see most of those letters together and I know what I'm saying, but it's not what it reads. So the sodium hydroxide is the thing that we made eons ago here, that we've been saving up. We have 5.9k of it, and we're going to end up having to belt that all the way back up here and into this, which is why there's a belt connection here for it. But I just also noticed it hasn't been that long, but it appears we have completely finished. Oh no, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. What are we missing? Item ingredient shortage. Oh, we're missing the pink goop. Well, item ingredient shortage. You're missing this. Fluid ingredient shortage. Output full of purified water? I thought that was balanced. Interesting. All right, so we're going to go fix that at some point. But we have an awful lot of these things. And as a couple of you predicted, this is not outputting these as it should be. So we'll have to figure out something different to do with this. But at this moment, at least, we have basically full belts of all of the, whatever these things are called, I can't remember the name of. And wrong button. And here, alien plant life samples. So we actually are pretty close to being completely fully seeded, but we do need to go and fix that at some point. I'll probably just do that off camera after we're done with this episode, because it's just a simple fix. Have some way for dumping, flushing out the purified water, but also being careful to not flush it out unless it's actually fully backed up. So we'll probably use a pump and an inspector pipe or something like that for that, to open and close a valve, basically, whenever it gets actually up to 100% or 99% or higher kind of thing. So back to this. We have those two. We have obviously copper and tin here, which we've talked about before. And then copper and tin are still separate as far as the ingots go, because it's in the induction furnace process where we turn it into a liquid that we make it into bronze. So those are fine as is. We have lead here, made from, of course, the lead oxide, and these are all, by the way, also getting processed from the ore into a processed ore. We have the zinc here that's using molten lead as a seed, and it actually needs a bit of molten lead to get started. And I could probably just actually take this that I had originally thrown on the belt, stick it in there, and then we can probably just do like a hand me off kind of thing here between these two. Maybe something like this. Maybe I should put it into a box. Yeah, I think I should put this into a box. Let's do it like this. We'll put this into a box like that, and then this can go into there, and this can come from here. And I did want these. Good job. Well, I did want at least this one to be lead ingots, so that it's not confused with the zinc ingots coming out of there. And you're going to pick up from there and go into there. Wait, lead ingots? Yes, but we need to have zinc ore first, right? And this one here actually can just be a regular old inserter. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. And that'll just serve as that buffer between the two to make sure that we do not have an issue with the lead going back and forth. And we never need to add more lead to this system. The lead is simply basically a catalyst for the zinc, well, and so is the oxygen for that matter. So then we have steel up here, which is being fed in part by the iron. The iron will be split evenly here until the steel's backed up, and then it'll mostly go this way. which will be fine. We have manganese here, made from manganese cathodes, with the processed stuff down here, of course, being passed into making those into the ingots. And then we have over here nickel, and we have silicon. Silicon's going into making a couple of things, part of which I included here already, which is silicon powder that goes into making glass. And then we'll have, obviously, a further bit for the glass, as well as a further bit for the silicon bars themselves. Also coming through this whole thing are two belts. One of them is this belt here, starting right at this point. This is the charcoal belt coming across. You can see that it splits here so that it can come up here and feed the steel smelting, as well as come across and feed the manganese smelting. And then we have a reverse of that belt, this one here coming across, and that is making... that is bringing carbon that needs to be made down here at the end. And I actually don't think I made the things that I need to use to set that up. But let's take a look here. I need one of these. Maybe two of these. And a boiler. Let's go ahead and do that. And that'll go right in here. And notice I kept these things broken too, by the way. And I kept these powered off, and that's fine. They're going to get backed up, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. So, let's see. This needs to be lined up with one of these. This one here. All right. Where is the liquefier? There we are. This will go like this. Distance from wherever doesn't horribly matter. I might tweak this a little bit too. I think no, I think it's fine. This will be making carbon monoxide, I believe. That's going into this here, which is the carbon monoxide. Okay. And then that takes purified water in, which we will get in here. And then we also need to have one of these, but actually should be rotated the other way, making carbon, well, whatever this needed. Carbon, which is this one. And then that'll, of course, go over there from steam, which is why we needed to have the boiler. And so that will take care of that. We'll bring the water and the purified water in. This belt here will be the continuation of the charcoal belt. That'll come in here like this. And actually we'll use that for fuel as well. So we'll do this and, well, it doesn't really matter. There, maybe. And then we can have an output up here, maybe right there, of the, whatever that stuff's called, carbon. And then the output of the carbon monoxide here. So that should take care of that there. I have obviously a lot more pipes here, which we will get at as we get through this. So that takes care of that. We'll just have to hook it up, obviously. I did tweak this a little bit, as I think I had it over by one, so I moved it around. That's just going up here to put the carbon into making the lead. So we should be good. And now we get into the point where that I was kind of questioning of myself as to how this will all work together and how much of each of these we're going to want to make. And that's kind of leads to, well, how many induction furnaces do we need? And then how many of the casting machines are we going to need? And there's two different casting machines. So we kind of did a little bit of this. No, actually, we didn't do a little bit of this. But if you kind of look at the numbers of this, we have, for example, on the aluminum coming out. Oh, geez, Wally, you are click happy today. There we go. The aluminum coming... No, not that. The silver coming out, which is this one. We have one ingot coming out every second. So we can grab an induction furnace for this one and really just put it in there like this. And I think that's... Oh, there is actually where I want it. You'll be silver. Silver? Silver. Down here, maybe? Oh, that's solder, envir, brass, bronze, silver. There it is. And that's, of course, going to output a molten variant. And I want to put the molten variant, or the molten out to the side over there. We'll do the same thing for aluminum, though. And aluminum's output is going to be 1.5. By the way, this could consume up to 12 every 4 seconds times 1.5. So 18 every 4 seconds, which is 4.5 per second. So we definitely are overkill on this front. Same thing, I think, with the aluminium. It's going to be the same ratio there. Yeah, 12 times 1.5, which is 18, divided by 4 per second. And we are only, we're only making 1.5. So again, overkill, but that's all you can really do. And then for the copper, we have, again, one individual one here because this just processes so fast. Copper this way. This is, again, I think the same recipe. 12 times 1.5 in 4, which is 18. So that's 4.5, and we are producing 11.25. However, this isn't the only destination for copper. There are 2 other destinations. One of them is going to be right here, and that is going to be making one of the bronze recipes, the simpler of the 2. That's because, well, the other one takes nickel, so we'll add that in later. But this, again, can consume a lot of copper. 18 times 1.5, so 27 divided by 4, which is almost 7 per second going into that. We'll also have the other recipe up here, 3 spaces away, and that one's this one. And we're doing them both, and I'll tell you why we're doing them both when we get to it. But this consumes the same amount of copper, but it produces 360 molten bronze, instead of the 240 here. It also consumes the same amount of tin, which is where this belt comes in here, is where we're going to grab the tin from. So the reason that we want to use this one is because, A, it consumes some of that nickel, which is good because we don't have a whole lot of uses for nickel. I think there's 2 right now. But also, it spreads that copper and tin out a little bit further, because now we can make 360 molten bronze instead of 240 from the same amount of copper and tin, just by adding in a little bit of nickel. So, the same amount of copper and tin? No, more tin, I'm sorry. More tin, same amount of copper, which is fine because, well, we have a lot of tin. The tin is going to be backed up here more often than the copper is, so that's fine with me. And then we also have one more recipe that takes the copper, and that is brass. That's this one here, which is copper and zinc. So we'll have to bring the zinc over to this point, but for right now, this is fine enough for our purposes. And then we have we've come to not quite the last use of tin here yet. Tin gets kind of spread kind of thin. These 2 and this one, no, not this one, and then this one here, which is just going to be the straight up tin process, which we'll do here, and that gets us tin from tin ingots, molten tin from tin ingots. Excuse me, jeez. You would think I would know how to speak these by now, but I don't. And then we need to do a different recipe over here. And the last thing that takes tin is, what is the last thing that takes tin? Solder. So we have lead and we have tin, and we have lead and tin, and then we have tin and zinc. So we're going to do the lead tin one here, and then we'll have another one up here that's going to be 3 spaces away again, I think. I'm going off of a plan, but I'm going to be tweaking that plan a little bit, as we talked about previously. And that's going to be this one here. And that's going to produce 240 out of 12 and 12. And this will produce 240 out of 12 and 12. But you're swapping out the lead for the zinc. So because zinc's not used very often, as you've seen, we basically have seen the 2 recipes where it's used. It's used in this, of course. And then it's also used over here, of course, and that's it. So when we have zinc, I want to use the zinc to make the stuff. But if we don't have the zinc, then, well, we don't want to use it to make the stuff. I need to do a little bit of shenanigans here because I need to make this lead belt appear on this side, and I need to make this zinc belt appear right here. So let's do a little bit of changes. This is what I was kind of talking about before. I think I can do it just this way. Yeah, that'll work. Wait. Yeah, that's right. And then this will go past this one, where this one's grabbing the lead, and go up into that one that's grabbing the zinc. So that'll work out fine once we get there, of course. And then we have, of course, we need to have lead ingots straight up. So we'll do that as well here. Lead right there. And that's going to be kind of the same recipe we've been working with, the 12 to 120 in 4 seconds kind of thing, times 1.5. And then after lead comes a new thing. That new thing is Invar, and I got to make sure I put this in the right spot. What are you? Where are you coming from? What are you there for? Where do you come from? Where do you go? Okay, that goes there. Invar is this one down here, and again, this is some kind of steel alloy that I don't know anything about. But steel and nickel come together to make Invar, and this is the only other use that we have for nickel besides the bronze. So I don't have a use for this yet, as far as I've gotten ahead in my other game, but this will be used at some point. I do know that it's used because I do remember from my previous days of playing Angels and Bobs and stuff in a long time ago. So now we have now we come to iron and steel, and iron and steel are going to work a little bit differently. We have some silicon coming this way, and one of the things we can do is make. Let's see, you want to do steel here. Which one of these is which? This is steel. So I want to do the steel from steel and silicon. And we have silicon coming in here. We have steel coming in here. And the steel will kind of just go, and it'll actually connect to 3 of these. 2 spaces away here. And this one will be steel with manganese. And then we'll have one more, which is going to be right on top of that one. And this will be steel from steel. So what we're going to end up having to do with this is actually make 3... Well, 6, because we're going to do the same thing for iron. 3 of these tanks, and I think it's this one. Just make one of them for just a moment, because I get confused as to which one of these are which, because they have a little bit different... Yeah, this is the one I want. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And we're going to use some of these little tanks as fluid buffers, and they're going to just go here on the ends of each of these, and the same thing is going to happen for the iron, actually. And what we're going to do is actually going to measure... Wait a minute, 1 of these? 2 of these? No, I lied. I don't need this many. I only need 1 tank. I don't need 3 tanks. I need pumps. I need 3 pumps. That's right. I got some extras of these now. That's all right. I'm going to make one of more of those just because, yeah, that. Pumps is what I needed 6 of. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 1 in my pocket for some reason. Take 1 out. Okay. We need pumps here, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually pump this, control it into one of these tanks. It's going to be here at the top. This will all be connected by pipes, which we'll do in a little bit. And then that's going to be used to measure, to control at what level, what priority we want to use the steel with the silicon, the steel with the manganese, and the steel by itself. This one, obviously, I assume, obviously, being the lowest priority when the tank is at this lowest capacity. These are, by the way, 2,500 unit tanks, I think. 25, yeah, 2.5K. So they're tiny tanks, but you don't really need a lot. They're just to serve as a measuring system. And in fact, I could even use an inspector valve right here, and this is just like a 1,000 unit tank, basically. That's the size of a pipe, so we could do that too. It kind of works either way. And then let's see, you go 3 away here. This will be just like this one was the steel with silicon. This will be the iron with silicon, just as this one was the steel with manganese. This will be the iron with manganese, and this one will be the iron all by itself over here. And then we can do the same thing with pipes and pumps here to control the control which one we use. Bots, thank you. So we'll do that in just a moment as well. The interesting thing with this is steel. Get out of the way, bot. This is steel recipe number 2 with the silicon. This is iron recipe number 3 with the silicon. This is steel recipe number 3 with the manganese. This is iron recipe number 2 with the manganese, and then obviously 1 and 1 there. Just kind of a weird quirk that I was surprised when I found it, because I was confused actually when I found it. But that takes care of the iron and steel, which are 2 very important ones. And then we really just have 2 more. We only just have 2 more to go. Which one of them is going to be the silicon, wherever that one is. Silicon, there it is. Ingots to molten, of course, and then finally we'll have glass over here. How did I have that laid out? That's probably it. It's probably fine either way. And this will be glass. There. From the glass mixture, which is made from silicon powder. So this will be just taking the silicon ingots, powdering them into a 1-to-1 ratio, We'll dump that into here in a 1:1 ratio, and then we'll output that here in a 12:120 ratio, which will be fine. It's going to be slow enough that it doesn't really matter, but the point of it is that we're doing the same thing, kind of getting all of these to a liquid form. And that's kind of all I wanted to cover today. I know this is a bit of a small piece of content, but what I plan on doing is running the belts and putting the inserters in so that we have that in place. I talked through it instead of doing it, but I also would have taken me 3 times longer to do it. I'll also connect up the pipes here, but I will not connect up the wires so that we can talk about, or maybe I'll connect the wires up, but I won't configure the pumps. And then maybe we can talk about the pump configurations next time. We're going to do the same thing actually over here on these guys, so I can actually do a similar, well, I guess I can't do it that way. I can actually do a similar gig on this one. I did need 4 of these then. I need 4 more of those pumps, and then I need two of the 3 tanks that I have here. Because we need to do the same type of measurement restriction type of system here with the solder and bronze as we've done with the iron and steel. Otherwise, we go into the same place where we don't know which one to use at a higher priority. So this lets me set the priority. But I will connect all the pipes up, connect all the belts up, connect all the inserters up, and then in the next episode, we'll come back with a with that setup, and then we will go into the actual casting process, making plates and making some new things. But like I said, that'll be the next time. So I hope this was interesting. I don't know that I did enough of these pumps. I guess I did. I need to do 2 more. I think I only did 2. I needed to do 4. So in the next episode, we will do that. And then we will be able to finally output this onto the bus once again. And we'll see kind of where that takes us. So thank you all for joining me. And I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.